What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the second episode of The Mental Game on the new CHN network. Today I have my first guest with me, my brother Vincent Golson, also known as TwoTwo. I'm really excited to have him on. We're going to talk about different topics, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. Also, I know you guys see the hat. Shout out to Trillis Establishment. Make sure you guys go get you some merchandise. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of The Mental Game. I'm here with my brother, Vincent Golson, also known as TwoTwo, one of the best basketball players I ever seen come out of Oakland. I'm really excited to have him on today. I just really wanted to talk to you more so about your basketball journey and kind of the steps that you've taken throughout your career, and starting all the way back in high school whenever I met you.
When I met JJ in the 8th grade, that was my first time being introduced to an AAU team, which is traveling basketball. And I wasn't able to play with them that year, but the coach told me if I wanted to play, he was gonna work me out like the following year. And then 9th grade came and he did that. And then I ended up playing 3 years at Skyline High School. Senior year we returned, we went 18-10 or 18-9, one of them. I got first team All-OAO. After high school, I ended up transferring to Jackson State, Mississippi, because I didn't have any offers or anything like that. So then I thought it would be easier to walk on to an HBCU, which wasn't. Of course, I upheld my academics with 3.2 at Jackson State. Went to Fresno City for a semester, then transferred again. Went to City College San Francisco for 2 years, and I played basketball there. My freshman year, I didn't play much. And the following year, I ended up coming off the bench, but then I ended up being MVP at the same time also.
Doesn't make sense. How you come off the bench and get MVP in the same year?
Fast forward that to junior year at Dominguez Hills. I played really well. I got second team. Senior year, but I ended up getting second team again. So a lot of people like to give up after the first year and transfer and stuff like that. I could have easily did that. Like my senior year, I averaged 19 points and 6 assists in high school. And then I go to my next program and I'm playing 8 minutes a game. What's going on here? Like I just came from a good league and a well-respected league in the Bay Area, and like I'm not even playing 8 minutes a game.
Yeah, and I think that's like a big deal, just because I know a lot of people, they get complacent. Like for instance, if you didn't play that first year, I know for some people they would either transfer or they wouldn't want to be there anymore and just be done with basketball in general. But it shows a lot about you that you just kept on going and going and going. I know it sounded like he bounced around a lot, but everywhere he went, he was always a big name. And then it obviously paid off. He plays professional basketball in Germany, making some money, doing what he loves to do. I know that a lot of people, especially when it's things like, okay, like I'm not playing a lot or we're losing, a lot of people like to blame the coach for things. Yeah. Did you ever take that approach? It sounded like you didn't.
Honestly, at City, I never blamed the coach, because we were at that point we were like 25-1. We lost our first game in the season, and after that we won like 25 straight. And I never blamed him because I was too busy. Like I was on a team full of good teammates. They all didn't make me feel bad that I wasn't playing or anything like that. They treated you the same as the person that was our leading scorer. And everybody liked each other, so I didn't have to blame the coach for that because we was in a good environment. I didn't feel too bad not playing.
Yeah.
Of course I did want to play.
So I know that you took some time off in between college and playing pro, not necessarily by choice, but I just want to know what that process was like for you, if that was tough, if that was like, okay, I'm gonna get there, if you wanted to quit, like what was your thought process in that time?
Honestly, it was tough for multiple reasons. One, I had to finish like 3 classes that first summer coming out of college. So I was going to class from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And that was 5 days a week. So I didn't have any time to actually work out when I'm trying to prepare to become a pro, because I wanted to finish college. I didn't want to leave and not finish, you know? After that, you kind of depended on someone else to get you where you want to go. And that was the first time I had to depend on anyone else. And when I say depend on someone, I mean like the agent, of course, you know.
Yeah.
He takes his time to see what type of player you are, caliber and stuff, so you're working on his time. And I didn't know anything about that because that was my first time, you know, being around that situation. So after the first couple of months out, I'm kind of like getting less motivated, you know, not hearing back from the agent and stuff like that. So the first 3 to 5 months, I'm just like, okay, I'm just working out and I don't know why. So then when I hear he has these next moves for me, then I get motivated again. I'm like, okay, now I know where I'm working out because I'm going to my next move. Then when he disappeared again, it's kind of like, all right, I want to give up now. It's the second year when he came around, I got kind of depressed, honestly, for about like 3-4 months. I didn't know why I was always sad, you know, like you just going through the motions you always go through in life. And I never figured out why I was like sad until I figured out like I didn't have basketball and I didn't know it was gonna end that early in my life, you know. The second year I stopped hooping altogether. I just like, I'm not going to no more open gyms. I'm not touching the basketball again. So
what made you keep on going?
That second year out, I was working at UPS and my coach, my Division II coach hit me out of nowhere. He just like, "Two, you still hooping?" I said, I was just like, I didn't know how to reply, but I'm like, I guess so, yeah. And he like, yeah, I might have this thing in Germany for you, you know? So then I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. Like, I didn't think much of it. The next 2 days, the coach emailed me. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is actually a good thing now. Coach emailed me, then he's like, all right, the GM is gonna tell you about the contract. And then after the GM started talking to me, I'm like, oh, this might be real, so let me start working out. Yeah. Like, you know, like I didn't want to get ready and get my hopes back up again and be down again, you know? He emailed me the contract and that's when I actually start working out, so then it just came off that.
Yeah, and I think that one big thing for you, and obviously you said that you wanted to kind of give up, but it still sounds like you were really patient about it, and I think that that's one thing that I would really want to relay to a lot of different people, especially people in our community, but people that just play sports in general. If you're trying to play varsity, if you're trying to play in college, overseas, whatever the case is, I think that being patient is a big part of it, because you never know, like you literally never know what's going to come up. And then for those same people, like you just happen to be in some decent shape where you could still work out and get back to where you need to be. Some people might just quit altogether and then it might be too hard to get back to.
My coach, out of those 2 years I was removed from basketball, he could have easily picked up somebody else. Him saying like the person I was too was a good thing. So like, you know, he thought of me first before anyone else.
Yeah, I was about to say, it shows a lot when you're liked by other people, not because of like your popularity or whatever, just by like, if you're a gentleman, if you're a nice guy, if you're a nice young lady, whatever the case is, a lot of people are going to put you on to different things. It shows a lot about you and your character, and I think that's something that a lot of people have to realize, like the more and more people that you talk to and that you engage with in the right way, you'll be surprised what opportunities come up. One thing that I wanted to talk to you about was just how you've seen people in your community deal with their mental health, whether it's been in sports, outside of sports, in LA, in Oakland, in Germany, whatever the case is. Just like what you've seen, how people deal with it.
In my community, I see a lot of people that don't deal with it. Honestly, they deal with it the wrong way. They usually, like, you know, depend on substance, whether it's alcohol, weed, pills, and I think they think it's normal too. So, you know, it's not kind of like, it's not something they notice until it's kind of too late. Then you'd be like, dang, this dude high all the time, or she's high all the time. You know, and it's like kind of like, I believe they're running from the demons they have in the past or anything like something like that, you know, or they've seen it in their family so long that they don't know it's abuse, you know. And I think the mental stage with that is kind of like they gave up already and they think that's their faith and stuff like that, you know. So they don't really deal with it. And the same thing go with LA. Like I've seen a lot of like basketball players in both LA and the Bay Area where it's kind of like they give up and then they go ahead and then they're not unstable because they don't know what their next move is. They never planned for it or anything like that, you know.
Yeah, and I think that that's something that's always really interesting, just because when we talk about black people specifically, there's always something or someone that's always trying to bring us down. And I think for like many black people specifically, like, because I'm never in LA like that, but that's something that I've also noticed too. Like there's people that have had a lot of potential that resort to any type of substance, whether it's alcohol, weed, pills, like syrup, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But people are always so quick to be like, okay, like they're a junkie, they do this, they do that, instead of really asking like the real questions, like, okay, like why or what's going on, and trying to figure out like how we can actually help these people. Like we're so quick to judge, and I think that that's something that, including myself, that I've been guilty of in the past. And me going to school, like I've had a lot more empathy with people who struggle with stuff like that, because I know that they're not just doing it just to do it. It's some tough stuff just to deal with, and I can't even imagine being in their shoes.
Yeah, honestly, it's this kid I know of, like a really good hooper from Los Angeles. It's crazy because he's talking about mental health right now and stuff like that, like and being stable or not stable, you know. And the kid had just committed suicide, like I think yesterday or today, if I'm not mistaken.
I did see that.
Yeah, he went to University of Pacific, and he's a basketball player. And the last year or so, like everyone's been saying, like he's been a little off, you know, but they didn't know what was up with him or anything like that. And I seen a couple of posts saying like, we were just playing Fortnite together, you was laughing with me, and then the next day it just happened, you know? And everybody knows, you never really know what somebody's going through until you like at least ask and try, you know? So people abusing like substance and stuff like that, it's a thin line between fun and abuse. And I think people override that a lot, and I think that's when we should be intervening, even if it's not our place to be doing, just to make sure it's our people, you know?
Yeah, and that's why I think it's, like you brought up a good point, that's why I think it's a good thing to just check up on people. Like you said, like everybody was just talking about, they were just laughing with them, playing video games, but we had no idea that all this stuff was going on. And that's why I think this is so important for me, because it's like, whether you play basketball, football, if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, it doesn't matter, whatever the case is, everybody kind of goes through their own stuff, and everybody kind of deals with things differently. Lof, rest in peace to Lof. Prayers up to his family.
Yes.
That's all the time we have on the second episode of The Mental Game. Thank you guys for watching. I really want to thank my guest, TwoTwo Golson, and I really, really appreciate him just coming on, just sharing some different thoughts and viewpoints. I can't wait to see you guys for episode 3. Make sure you guys subscribe to CHN. Take care.